Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about the Dungeons and Dragons, my campaign that I just completed. It was the Dungeons and Dragons Waterdeep Tome Wall campaign. All right, and it was really special. I really had a blast. So a friend of mine it's really fascinating. I am a terrible friend. I've realized this over the years. I'm a lot of things. You could say Scott Garrett's a lot of things, but I'm not the greatest friend. I think it's very difficult to be friends with Scott Garibay. I'm extremely intense and adamant. I have opinions on absolutely every subject on the planet. I can be cantankerous and curmudgeonly, and so I don't. And so with that, you would think I'd be alone, and nobody would ever call me or ask anything of me again, friendship wise, right? But that's not the case. One. This is really weird. I don't know what it is about me, but I make friends very easily, right? I That's a different video. I actually know why I make friends so easily, but I want to stay focused here. But I don't take for granted when a friend reaches out to me, right? So my friend reached out to me by Facebook. We started, talking on Facebook, and he's really good too. Like he's one of those guys who, like, reaches out on Facebook, like when it's 11 p.m. He sees you're on. He's like, hey, what's up? And so we got time, and so we just kind of kicked it on Facebook and talked for a little while. And then he said, hey, I got some vacation time, and so I'm free. And I'm like, great. I'm like, let's play D&D, right? So he's like, great, I'm in, right? And I was so joyous, right? Like I was just like, let's play D&D. And then we met the next day, ready to run, right? And there were no like boundaries around the game. We just got to start and play, which is like I'm really fascinated. I think Ben from Questing Beast is such a brilliant content creator, and he brought forward this. And actually, it's really funny. I know all these great ideas from Ben from Questing Beast, but I don't know who made them. He's like, some dude said this, and I'm signal boosting it. I never remember the guy who's saying it. I just remember Ben's signal boost. So Ben actually talked about this. He talked about Dungeons and Dragons as tactical infinity. All right, so Ben, and I love that tactical infinity. Like you're at the beginning of it, and not only do you have tactical infinity exists at so many levels, right? When the character sheet, a blank character sheet is tactical infinity, right? You could go in any direction you want. You can make whatever you want, right? But me as a dungeon master, I had tactical infinity to build this campaign, right? So one, I'm like, okay, Lego, we're running Lego D&D. So I brought all my Lego. I had all my, I have a Lego kit now that I bring and this was a physical table Dungeons and Dragons campaign. So I brought my Legos, right? And then we played in the core rulebook interim, right? So D&D VE, DMG, D&D VE, PHB, but the D&D VE doesn't even exist yet. I can't, nobody owns it, right? And so I had to use the Dungeons and Dragons Monster Manual 5th edition, right? Very interesting, right? And so that was and so I arrive, and I laid out 30 Lego minifigures and said you could play any and all of these guys, including Strahd von Zarovich, Lady of Pain, and Tasha. Those are some powerful bangers right there, right? So I presented all these to the Iron Player, and the Iron Player's like, I don't want to run any of that. I want to create my character from scratch, right? I'm like, no problem. That sounds great, right? And then he said, and this was beautiful. I love this. This is so enjoyable, right? He just pulled out an empty character sheet, right, and started making it from scratch. And I said, and actually before that, I said, hey, what level do you want to start at, right? And I love that. Like he could have started at 5, he could start at 20, right? Like and he's like, dealer's choice, and I'm like, okay, first level, right? Right. So what? And this is important because he had the chance to start at a higher level, right? And so. And this is going to become important later as I continue to tell you about this campaign, right? So I gave him the choice, right? He says first level. Now that turned out to be a very bad decision on his part, and you will see. You'll determine that why. I'll give you. I'm gonna bury the lead on this one, but you'll find out a little later, right? So basically, he chooses, and then he builds a human bard noble. Okay, great pick, all right. Now the nice thing is, since I brought my Legos, the official Dungeons and Dragons Lego um, minifig series has a bard in it, right? Now that's a elf bard, but it was no problem. I was able to just slide that bard character out, and increasingly, Lego is just like, you can literally represent very quickly, very detailed, with swappable weapons every class. It is incredible, absolutely incredible how powerful and fast it is, right? And so that was I really enjoyed that. And then so then he gets his character sheet done, right? And I was like, and he's like, okay, I'm ready to go. Now during that, I was just prepping my my minifigs, right? So I was just getting them in line and getting them ready, right? Getting out my dice, getting out my cards, right? Because I also use MTG cards, right? And so it was just nice. I had enough time to just get everything set for the session, right? And actually, I should say, for the campaign, right? We're gonna talk about that. So basically, so I get everything out and everything's ready, right? And at that point, his character sheet is done and we're ready to run. But I'm going to cut it off there, and then the next time I talk, I'll tell you about how the actual session started. But I thought it was really fascinating that I put out 30 Lego minifigs and said, you could play these unusual builds, and then and if you just point to a fig, your species and your class are done. They're literally represented, right? And so what I found was really interesting is he wanted that tactical affinity. He wanted to build his own from scratch, right? What's interesting, though, is I've done this several times, with different people, and many people love that. They love the ability to just point at a figure and their character build is completely finished. I love that. It's such a cool option. Now, this player is a very mechanical player, knows the rules extremely well, but also has a significant amount of narrative skill in building and crafting a character. And he named his character Matt Burns, which I thought was a very cool name, right? And I really like the human bard noble pick, and we were off to the races. And so thank you for letting me share this Dungeons & Dragons Waterdeep Tome Wall campaign with you. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion on Dungeons & Dragons VE, the replacement for Dungeons & Dragons 5e. And the important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic, please consider subscribing and have a fetch millennium.